be assembling a Supreme Hog Feeder. Now, this hog feeder will all the time come assembled here on the base, but the part we are interested in is the hopper or the tapered piece that comes off of it. We're going to be offering it in two selections. One where it comes in this configuration with the hopper sections being loose, and that's what we're going to go through today, is assembling these. And the other option is coming from the factory with the hopper installed. Okay, so when we're assembling this, there's going to be three different types of hardware. You're going to have your 1/4 inch self tappers, you're going to have your longer thread formers that do not have a gasket on them, and the last one you're going to have is a gasketed thread forming bolt. So when we assemble these, what we're going to do here is you start off with a single panel, and the panels are always going to be on the outside of this ring. So you're going to see two holes here, or excuse me, three holes that these bases correspond to, with reliefs cut in them for the existing bolts and nuts that are already on the piece. So the first thing we do is we take our self-tapper. That's the first piece of hardware that we use. We're going to start off with a sheet placed on the outside, and we're just going to get that started by hand here on the end. Kelly, do you want to grab me the gun maybe here? And with that started on the end, you're going to take an impact driver if you have one, and you want a 3/8 nut driver on the end, preferably with an extension, and you're going to get that just started on there. Then the next piece of hardware you're going to is the thread forming longer bolt. That one is going to go in to the middle, and you want to make sure that while you're doing this, you are leaving all of these sections at least a little bit loose. You do not want to tighten them the entire way. And it's probably best to have a second set of hands available to hold sheets like Kelly's doing for me right now. Okay, so again, I'm leaving that loose, but started in there. Once you've got your first piece set with your self tapper there on the first hole and your longer thread former on the second, when you come to the third one, this hole is going to be shared, this hole is going to be shared by two of these hopper sheets. Again, starting with a self tapper. Now, if you look at the end of these pieces, you're going to notice that there's a slight taper to this. This is the inside in reference to these two, and it's going to be the same. Every single one on the left-hand side is going to have a slight taper on the inside. Your first hole is going to share the hole on this ring with your first sheet that you put in, and you're going to follow the same process. You're going to use a self-tapper on the first one, right there. Then you're going to go to a thread former, and you're just going to alternate back and forth. So that slight taper, you want that to sit, when we say inside, we reference the inside of the hopper here. So these four holes are going to line up, and you're going to work your way around doing it the same every time, where the side that's tapered, you want that to sit over the pre-existing hopper sheet that was there.
There we go, that started.
now that we're back to the beginning of this first self-tapper that we put in, we're gonna have to remove just from being our placeholder so we can get our last sheet in. And again, we've got the taper here on the left-hand side of the sheet, so that's gonna fit over this one. And then this side, this will be on the outside of our first sheet since that's where the taper is. So when you're assembling this and you do have problems, or maybe you don't have a second set of hands, what we'd recommend using is a drift pin or something that's a little bit longer, even a screwdriver, where you can get through the first hole, hit that second hole, and cantilever that to get it lined up so you can get a, 2 bolt holes lined up above or below that. But so now we've got the entire hopper at least staged together but still loose. And now what I would recommend is that you come along on the bottom. And again, so we've got our thread former, a self-tapper hole, and then a thread former. We need to go back through and fill in all the self-tappers that we had there, and then you can follow with the 3 remaining holes on the vertical portions of the hopper. And once you have all of them started, go ahead and tighten them up, and you should be done.